Hi, this is Marnie Pearson and Sue Painter back with our online business reality show, Marnie and Sue's Peep Show, where we pull back the curtains on our businesses and give you an inside peek into what's working, what's not, and also take your questions and answer them. And we have we've got two people sent us questions, and there's more than one question per person, so we have quite a few questions to cover today. Hello, Sue. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, how's everybody doing? It's good to be here on looks like a rainy day in Florida, looking out my door. Is it raining up there, Marnie?
No, it's pretty today. So
finally. Well, good. You finally are getting rid of your mud then, huh?
Yeah, except for it's supposed to, well, it'll be pretty for a day or two, and then Saturday it's supposed to rain again. So
Bummer.
Yeah. All right, so we'll start with Carolyn's question. Carolyn sent in, I'll be launching my first ebook for sale soon, and I'd like to know what Sue and Marnie would have done for your launches, your pre-launch ebook strategies, marketing plan, building the buzz and launch day or launch week strategies to maximize the amounts of interest and purchase in the first week. She also said she heard that when putting an ebook on Amazon for Kindle, it can take up to 1 or 2 weeks to show up for purchase. And is that true? And if so, how can one organize a marketing campaign with that unknown factor with Amazon? That is not true. I just put an Amazon book up yesterday. It was up within a couple hours. I have never had one. I mean, a Kindle book. I've never had a Kindle book take more than a day to go up.
I've never had a Kindle book take more than a day either. And like you say, Marnie, from my experiences, it's usually up in a matter of hours. So maybe the person who had trouble was having trouble with they didn't appropriate it into the categories correctly, or there was some issue that was, I mean, if the issues are all taken care of and the book is formatted correctly, it's our experience that they go up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now, print books can take a couple weeks. It's possible if they were done through another party besides, say, CreateSpace or something, they may take a little bit to show up, but not Kindles. Okay, so she wants launch ideas, marketing plan, building buzz.
How long is this Peep Show going to be, Marnie?
I don't know to do all that in one Peep Show.
Quite a
program how to do Amazon launches. So,
well, let me start with this, and then Marnie has certainly done plenty of this, so she can chime in too. You really want to start thinking about your visibility and credibility and publicity for the book before or as you are writing the book, and pick out what is going to be a compelling title and think about your cover graphic, because really the cover graphic and the title are what sells the book more than what's inside the book. Even though I know what you think what you have inside the book is genius, right? I think what I have inside my books is genius, and Marnie thinks what she has inside her books are genius, and it is genius, but nobody cares. They pick from the title and the cover. So the first thing is to make sure that you're really paying attention to that. But one of the biggest mistakes I see Kindle authors or any author do is they work on the content of the book, and then they want to put the book out there, and it's like they launch it, and it reminds me of one of those helium-filled balloons that just kind of takes up off into the space, and there's nothing to ground it back down that people can grab a hold of and get to know you and get to know the book. So you really should be building platform for the book as you are developing the book. And that's the biggest mistake that I see people make. So if you have not already started putting up a Facebook page or a landing page for the book, and been, chatting about the book and offering people a sneak peek preview of a chapter or something like that, should really be doing all of that now, so that you're building a platform and you've already got followers, and when the book is launched, then you can let them know and maybe offer them a bonus if they buy the book on your launch date and so forth. So I'll hush for now and let Marnie kick in, because there's tons of other stuff to talk about. But do you agree that there needs to be a platform before there's a book?
I agree. You need a list. You need somebody to tell that the book is there. You need to. You can piggyback off of other people's popularity. If your book is, say, in the same genre, the same a similar audience, like I bet you if Sue, you've got an Allie Brown following. So if you were to let all the Allie Brown followers know that you've got a new book, and you ran some Facebook ads to Allie Brown people, most likely you probably would make some sales off of an ad like that, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I just released an older book that I had, a novel, Hannah's Heart. And years ago, I used to co-market with a friend of mine that was a romance novelist. And so her fans, a lot of them are my fans. And so I was able to target her fans to let them know that, hey, this book is now available on Kindle, and I got a burst of downloads. And I was also able to import my list out of, like I had those book buyers on a list that I never imported into One Shopping Cart when I moved to One Shopping Cart, because I wasn't doing a lot with novels anymore, but I still had the list. So I took that list and put it into Facebook and sent it to them and any of my friends, people, and, you know, and people who are connected to me. So there are other ways to kind of build yourself a list, especially with Facebook, to at least reach people who might be interested because they're interested in somebody else like you or associated with you in some way. That's another possibility. And then, of course, there's the traditional launches where you give away something when they buy on launch day, you know. And I think you're probably better off doing 2 or 3 day launches now, because I used to do 1 day launches, and then just as you're getting it all peaked out and the momentum's going, then you just like you stop it and it needs to you need to let it ride. Go ahead and let it ride for a couple days, and then it will start to go down. But go ahead and take advantage of that little bit of a launch there. Make it a 2 or 3 day launch instead. I don't think a week. I think a week is a little long for a launch, but a lot of people will give their book away for free. They'll do the Amazon, what is it? Kindle Select is what they'll use on Amazon. And they'll give the book away for free, do a big push, get it to drive it up into its category on Amazon, and then do that for maybe 2 days, 2 or 3 days, and then they'll pull it, and then they'll make money on the way down as the price goes back to the normal price after they've created a lot of buzz around it.
Yeah, and if you do that, if you have a free book or a 99-cent book and you push that for a day or two, it might be that you'll hit bestseller status in your category, or even #1 status, and then you can take a screenshot of that, and then you can, you know, use that for further publicity and then raise the price of the book again. But you've got to have people ready to buy if you're going to do that. So you've got to have a list. And I agree with Marnie. There's all kinds of different, I mean, you can do giveaways. You can say, if you buy my book, you know, and set up a page on your website where people can put their name and their email address and the receipt number from Amazon. And then you can send them a bonus. It's a video about the topic, or another one of your books that's related that makes sense to put them together, those kinds of things. You can do that as well. And of course, don't forget about releasing, you know, do PR and do press releases that this book is out, and maybe try to get some interviews locally with some media stations. So you really need to have a platform set up as you're developing the book, and then as time gets closer, you know, try to do like a media strategy with some PR. And then there's the actual launch day or days. And I agree with Marnie. I think it needs to be more than a 24-hour launch these days. Maybe go for 48 to 72 hours. Wouldn't you think, Marnie, for a launch for a Kindle book now? And so you need to have those prizes or, you know, freebies or whatever, if people buy your book, to come over and enter their information and get that bonus or a chance for that prize, because that way you will continue to build lists and get the buyers added to your list. Otherwise, when they go to buy on Amazon, of course, you don't know who they are, so you don't have a way to build that list if they're just buyers and they never come over to get something extra from you, I should say. So was there something else in the question, or is that pretty much it?
Well, that's a huge question. The marketing plan and all that. I mean, you really have to get creative to get the exposure that you need, and you really need to build a list, because it's there's just, people are on information overload, and you've got to cut through the noise. So you got to get creative.
You know, you can do little videos too, and you can put those in Facebook ads, and you can talk about why you did the book and what's in it, who's it for, and how excited you are about the book, and see if that creates a little bit of buzz on Facebook to help you build a platform. You can also release, you know, you can do Instagram, and you can do releases on Twitter, you know, information about the book on Twitter, and try to drive people either to your website to buy or to Amazon to buy. So you have to think carefully about all that. And we both would suggest, I think, to really sit down and have a marketing strategy for the book that includes media and social media platforms, and, you know, platform building ahead of time, and then making sure that your cover graphic and your title are really very compelling. Be sure that you have, you know, information in the book that leads people back to you. You know, that maybe offers your services as a speaker, if that's what you're about, whatever else, so that you have links so that people can find you, or bonus links built in the book to drive people back to your website. That's another way to build lists once the book is out.
Yeah, you definitely want something that drives them back to your site on the other end of it. And I like to use image quotes and things like that to promote books. Like just take some of your better lines out of the book and make images out of them, and then just start spreading those out and link them back to the book, you know, or your site, where if you're going to get them to buy from your site or whatever. They work really well. Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook.
And Twitter, you can do them on Twitter too.
On Twitter too.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example, like I just barely started I created a little Facebook ad yesterday and ran it to those people I was telling you about. And I'm paying about 20 cents per click to get them to go to Amazon. And about 8 out of 15 have bought. So maybe a 50% have bought.
Mm-hmm.
But those people are aware of me. So that's a little different than totally cold.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I guess, that's another thing that we should say is, you know, have in your mind's eye, who is it that's going to read this book? You know, kind of flesh them out. Is it male? Is it female? What age group? Who is this book really for? And then make sure that you're doing, if you do any Facebook advertising, that you're really honing in on only putting it in front of those people who you think will read that book. In fact, I had a conversation earlier today with somebody who also is has released a book. And, you know, in a little bit of a way, she was trying to get that book in front of people who, you know, it was good for them to read, but they might not want to read it just because it's good. It's kind of like if I put out a book about green vegetables are good for you, you know, 5 servings of them every day. It might be true, but since I hate green vegetables, I'll probably never buy that book to read it. So you have to, you know, you have to be looking for and putting your book in front of the people who want that book, who want whatever the topic is. And I don't know what the book is, but it could be a broad book or it could be more specific. And the more specific you can make that title, the better off you'll be.
Right. Yeah. For example, in this one, since it's a romance, I didn't send it to just anybody connected with me.
Yeah.
I sent it to the people who had showed an interest in my historical romance before. Because, you know, no point in targeting the business people with that. They're probably not. They may like it, but I can't guarantee that they will, you know.
And it's kind of not on brand for you, Marnie, because if they got that and they knew you in a business sense, they'd be like, well, why am I getting this thing about a romance novel from her? Like, I thought she was over here doing this type of work, and here she is doing romance novels. So it's really would be off brand for you anyway.
Right.
Why sometimes people write using nom de plumes, you know, they use another name because it's in an industry that's not connected with their brand.
Right.
Okay, we hope that those things will be helpful to you. And let's see, do you want me to read the other question that we got, or do you have it?
I have it here. Or
okay.
Do you have it handy, or do you want me to do it? Okay. Okay, this one's from Deb, and she wants tips on launching a course. Specifically, how far ahead do you start promotions? So we'll just answer that and then we'll work down the list. How's that? So I usually start mine, if it's a big training, I start it about a month ahead, 2 weeks at least, What about you?
I don't think 2 weeks is enough. I agree with you. Depending on the size of it and how many modules there are and how big a product it is, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, 4 weeks minimum.
Yeah, the bigger the program, the longer you.
Right.
And if it's live, you know,
you could do an 8-week, precast too, but at least a month. So probably 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
depending on what it is.
Yeah. All right. The next one is, what are the most effective ways to promote?
Depends on what the product is about. Did you say in there what the product is about? I don't think she did when I read the question.
No.
Yeah. So this is going to sound simplistic, and probably when you hear the answer to this question, you're going to go, well, duh, like I could have figured that out. But the most effective way to promote is to figure out a promotion strategy that is where your potential buyers are. So if they're on Facebook, then one of your strategies might be to use Facebook. If you are a visual person and it's something that's kind of artsy, maybe you want to promote it through Instagram and through Pinterest through more visual content marketing. So it kind of depends on where are the people who you think are going to buy your product. Well, Marnie, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, and if it's local, they say LinkedIn is good.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah.
And okay, do you have any general feel for percentages? What percentage of people reached will opt in for a free preview call? What percentage of people on the free call will sign up for the course? Again, that's how well you do a sales job. Is what it is.
And how big a platform you already have, how big your list already is.
Yeah.
In general, Marnie, I think the rule of thumbs now for people buying off of a preview call or a webinar, it really is about 1 in 10, I think, of the people who are actually on the call.
Probably. And about 25% who register will show up live. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get 30%.
Right.
And then I don't know how many actually listen to the audio afterwards. There may be some.
No, the research shows absolutely nobody listens to the recording. Really? And that's why, and nobody takes action on it. If they do listen, they don't take action. And so actually some of the people who I work with who have coached me over the last year or two have said, you may as well quit offering the replay. And it's kind of a weird thing because everybody says, I want the replay. I was busy. I didn't get a chance. But you can tell and depending on the system you use, you can tell if you send out the replay link, how many people have actually opened it. And if you go back and look, it's usually like the big.
Really?
Yeah. So
I know they don't sign up. I know that much. So it's always the people who came live that show up. Yeah. And really your response rate is how well you've done the targeting.
Yeah.
And that I can test really well with ads. So the more I zoom in on the exact audience, then I can get, 4% click-through rates up to 5%. This book ad, I'm getting a 12.5% click-through rate of the people who see it, who will go through. That's really considered really good. If you can get about a 2 to 3% click-through rate, that's a decent average click-through rate of the number of people who see something and then who go. And then you're going to probably only see 30 to 50% of those are actually going to sign up. That's why I always pay for conversions if I'm running ads. I don't pay for the clicks usually. I had to with Amazon because you don't have any way to track the conversions. But at least you could, if you're doing a sign up for a preview webinar, and you decide to use Facebook advertising, track conversions, and that's people who've actually filled out your form and signed up for whatever you're offering for free. So let's say your preview telecall.
Yeah.
And then you at least know you're paying for butts and seats. Well, 40% of those are going to show up live. So you got to run your calculations.
I think it's a good point to make because people do in their head don't realize that if they are running, say, a Facebook ad, then you're going to get click-throughs. So let's say you get 100 click-throughs. That doesn't mean that 100 people have actually opted in and taken the offer. It means they've clicked through and they've looked at the offer. So then, let's say of those 100, maybe 25 of them will actually opt in. If you get a lot of click-throughs and nobody's opting in, it means that your opt-in offer needs to be worked on because it's not compelling. Either the graphic or the title of it, it's not speaking to people who clicked through, or it's not matching well what the advertising said. And if you get people clicking through and then a lot of them are going ahead and actually leaving you their information and opting in, then you know that's a good thing. So you've got to get to click-throughs, but then after the click-throughs, you've got to get them to opt in as well. And sometimes people don't understand that it's actually a two-step process.
And then once they opt in, you got to get them to show up on the call, and then maybe 25% of those are going to show up. So if you had 25 enroll, you got about 5 who are going to show up live.
And then you've got to have buyers from that. So it goes click-throughs to opt-ins to showing up on the call to actually buying what it is you're offering. So that's a 4-step process you've got to get people to.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So that's the gauntlet that you have to run. Not to be negative about it, but it just shows that the more people who already know you and the bigger your list is, the better you're going to have, the better chance you're going to have to actually making the sales that you want at the end of the road there.
Yeah. I have used the tack. If you show up live, I've got something special for the people who show up live that nobody else is going to get. And then I'll give them something at the end, and then I'll clip that out of the recording.
Right. Exactly. I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
And you can also do prizes live, and you have to be on the call to win. I mean, if it's a big product, if it's a $1,000 product and you want to give away, an iPad mini or something, it's just people who are on the call, so that you get a lot of people on the call, and then you give that away in the last minute or two of the call after you've made your offer. Then, that might really bring people on the call. But of course, you wouldn't do that if it's a $47 product. So it just depends on what it is you're building, really.
I wonder if that would just get people who are trying to win something.
Of course, but they still would listen.
Yeah, but are they freebie people, or I don't know.
I see people doing that, and I think, well, a lot of people are, might not have any interest in what the offer is going to be at all. They're just hanging around hoping that they'll get it.
That's what I'm thinking.
So you can make it more pointed. You can make it, half an hour of your time or whatever. But I'm just telling you things I see people doing.
Yeah.
What were there other parts to that question?
Let me see. My phone went to sleep. All right. That's pretty much. Yeah, that's all of her questions. So
okay.
We're about at the half-hour mark anyway. So
we are just about. Do you have anything else you want to talk to people about, or that's been on your mind that you want to share before we leave?
I'm in a zone. I'm actually getting out of my funk. I don't know. I'm just thrilled. So
good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, your face looks brighter and like you're happier now. So maybe that is going by the wayside a little bit, which I'm glad to hear. Yeah.
Got over my last guy. I've even got a date for Saturday night. And
locally, a local guy or a virtual guy?
Pretty local. Yeah.
He's local. Oh, that's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward. Yes.
I'll just say quickly, I've been thinking a little bit about, we all have to focus in business. We kind of have to focus on who are the people that we like to work with, and really what is our message. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And I know, Marnie, you and I have had this conversation because we both know a lot of things about having an online business. And so in a way, we're generalists. When we can talk about book launches, we can talk about product launches, we can talk about, half a dozen or a dozen different things, as we do on the Peep Show every week. But sometimes that you have to really think about, well, what is that messaging that you want to get out? And like for Marnie, she likes to teach people that you can co-create your life and your business. She talks about co-creation with spirit, right, Marnie?
Right.
And I'm actually a believer in that as well. But I have been thinking about, it seems to me that my message has always been, in all the years that I've been in business, that you know, you do this, you create a business for yourself because you want to have an impact in the world. You want to leave a legacy, not so much in terms of a legacy for your children, although that might be true, but you want to leave a legacy of what your business has accomplished. And you want it to have impact. And really, those are the people who, that's really what my message has always been about. And the reason I teach the tools is because the tools are one of the things, along with mindset and commitment, that allow you to go out and have a business that makes an impact in the world, not just supports you financially, but also makes a difference in the world. And that's, I really have probably not stated that enough in all of my copy over the years, that I work with people who really are kind of serious about, I want my business to make a difference. I'm in this business for the long haul. It's not just quick money for the next 6 months and then I'm out of here. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and how, if I should change my messaging and how I should change that. So for those of you who are thinking about yourself and your business, like, what is that main message that is important to you, that you really want to get out there and that you want to be known for, that you can really help people do? And so that was just an odd thought that I thought I would throw in there.
Well, since you're waxing philosophical, I'll share some aha moment I had this morning, okay? I've been listening to this program about men and money and how the two are related, your relationship with men and your relationship with money. Okay, so I had this aha moment today about how whether it's with a customer or with men, I'm always like over investing. It's like I'm give. I'm the one making the sacrifices. I'm the one flying out to go see the guy. You know what I mean? I'm the one that's investing. And with my programs, I give, and I give them like lifetime support and with nothing. And so as I started to rethink that, and I think, you know, hey, I offer real value. You know, people get results when they work with me. When a man is with me, he's got it good, you know, because I'm like a giver, you know. So, but I need to get as much investment back as I'm giving. You know, it's like I haven't been open to receiving that investment back. And so with this aha moment, I've like been able to just set really clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Than I ever have with the men thing. And then on the customer side of it, I ended up with this really cool idea that I'm doing with like my product creation training that I do. I usually, you know, they'll buy the training up front, and then I put them in a Facebook group and I let them listen to that training again in a future version, and they get Facebook group support. And I thought, this is something they ought to be paying for that after a certain point. So I changed it where they get 4 months in this product creation club where they can re-audit the class and they can ask questions in that group. And then after that point, they just pay like $29.95 a month to stay in that group where they can listen to the same training again if I give it again, because there's always new questions. And if there's time and space, they can ask questions on the live calls, and they get to be in this group. So I'm finally realizing I got to cut off this over investing and over giving and not making space to receive back. So it was a big light bulb moment for me.
I think we all as business owners go through that, and sometimes we're so anxious to get it out there or so anxious to be successful that we do overpromise and or overdeliver or don't allow clients to be responsible. And in fact, that happened to me a couple of days ago. Somebody booked me for an hour of my time, and then when she got to the call, she really wasn't very prepared. And in about 10 or 15 minutes, she really didn't have any other questions to ask. And you could tell, I mean, she kept wanting me to just talk for 45 minutes about whatever, you know, and I'm like, this really isn't about that. I mean, if you're not prepared or didn't need me for an hour of my time, that's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to fill up that time and ask me what it is you need. I'm not just going to start teaching this and that and the other thing, hoping that there's something that will hit that you'll take home and actually use. And I have to stop feeling bad that they don't use their time, and they have to come to the call prepared, or be able to say, I just had a quick question for you today and I really needed to know it now and I want my answer and then I'm on my way. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't really work anyway in business to try to get every single minute of an hour. It's really, what do you need? Let's get it done. And if we can get it done in 45 minutes, fine. If it takes an hour, fine. If it takes an hour and 5 minutes, for that matter, fine. But don't, I can't just hold forth like I'm, what is the Greek goddess of fountain guy, the oracle, like the Delphi oracle. I'm not the Delphi oracle. So anyway, that came up the other day, and I ended up thinking, this is where I'm not doing this again. Either come and fill up the time or not, but it's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility. So.
Yeah. And it's about the answer. It's not really about the time.
It is about the answer. It's not about the time. I actually have had, people put me on retainer, and then they can ask questions of me every week, Monday through Thursday. Anytime they have a question, they can email me and I'll answer them back right away. And they pay to have that access to me for their business. And I did have one person pay for a whole year of access to me and ask me only one question in that year. But at the end of it, they were like, I got what I needed. You answered a question and I made $25,000 based on what you answered. And that more than paid for what I paid for the whole year with you, more than paid. And I got what I needed, and I'm happy. They understood it wasn't about the time. It was about what's between my ears and how fast can I make it to you, and just, give what you need. And the same for you, Marnie. I mean, it's the same for everybody who consults and coaches. So anyway, so we ended up answering questions and waxing philosophical. And we're going to meet next week on Monday, because I'm actually going to be in Fort Lauderdale at a conference Tuesday through Friday next week. So we're doing the Peep Show on Monday, and we'll send out a link and the replay link to this. But remember, if you're watching later and you do have a question, to email your question to info@confidentmarketer.com or sue@confidentmarketer.com, either one, and we'll read it and answer it just like we did today. That was kind of fun to do. It keeps us on our toes, right, Marnie?
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling better, and I hope you have a good time on Saturday night.
I'm sure I will.
Talk to everybody later. Bye.
Bye-bye.